This is WLOX News Now at 6. Your news starts right now.
I mean, our kids are, in their beds, and you're wondering, do you need to snatch them out of bed and run with them? What's going on? What's happening?
Fire flying, the blaze dancing in the night sky. An overnight explosion, residents in fear for their lives when what some call a ticking time bomb goes up in flames. A natural gas plant in Pascagoula burst into flames overnight. Part of the fire still burning right now. 2 workers were inside the Enterprise Products Partners facility when an explosion sent pillars of light into the darkness. Officials say the pair were in a safe room and no one was injured. But we've learned residents reported feeling vibrations from the blast from 10 miles away. WLOX News Now has had crews out since last night digging for more information on this story. Hugh Keaton is on scene right now in Pascagoula. Hugh, tell us what's going on.
Well, the plant remains closed right now behind me. I actually moved to a different spot so you can kind of get a different perspective of just how big this plant is. Where the explosion actually happened is about 200 yards from where I am or so. And you can see the container on the left-hand side, it's totally burned. Black all the way to the top. The one on the right still remains with its same color, so you can kind of see the difference there and the charred effect that the explosion had. Now, crews are still trying to extinguish a flame there. You might be able to see really a small shot of the water being poured onto what's remains of the flame, and we are told that the flame has to be extinguished totally before an investigation begins into exactly what set off this explosion. 2 crew workers were here working last night, and fortunately they got to a safe room during the explosion, so they were not hurt. And a handful of Jackson County firefighters are still here trying to battle what is left of the blaze, and no timetable has been given yet for how long it might take to put out this flame totally. And I've talked to a few people who have, several people have just kind of driven by to check out things here that have lived in the area and passed along a couple of tidbits. I actually talked to a Chevron worker, and he said a couple of the big points that he pointed out to me were this is a natural gas plant, and that would be easier to contain than other types of fuel, other types of gases. So that might be why the explosion was not as bad as it could have been, and the risk level involved with natural gas is much lower as compared to other chemicals. He did not want to talk on camera, though, and give me any further details. But he did tell me that he was surprised based on the video that he had seen right here on WLOX. He was expecting the damage to be much worse than what he saw here. That was from a Chevron worker who worked nearby. So we've got much more on this story, including reaction for neighbors. And for that, I'll send it back to Christine in the studio.
Thanks, Hugh. It's much quieter in that part of Pascagoula than it was earlier today.
Load over 911. I believe there's going to be a fire somewhere in the city of Pascagoula close to the plant.
Roads blocked, traffic limited, first responders fighting flames for hours. Several families tell us they left their homes even though there were no evacuation orders in place. Emergency officials say there was no threat to the community, but those who live there say this scene is all too familiar. Neighbors living near the plant have been through this drill before. There have been incidents and accidents at other industries in the area. Steve Phillips is here with more.
Christina, residents living in the shadow of Bayou Casada Industrial Park formed the group Cherokee Concerned Citizens more than a year ago. They have lobbied for neighborhood sirens, an early warning system, and better communication with industry and emergency officials. Concerned neighbors gathered to commiserate in the shade of Barbara Wackesser's carport.
How hard is it to send a text to our phones? You know, we have an issue. Hazmat could do it. One of them could do it. Somebody could do it.
But since evacuations were not required, no notice to neighbors was given, leaving them to speculate and worry.
I turned this way to go back in, and when I turned back, you seen the flames coming up over the trees and the smoke above it, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what's happened? What's going on?
Lacking any official notice or information, social media filled the void.
Through Facebook, everybody was posting stuff, wondering what the heck was going on, and then seeing WLOX.
I'd like to be notified in case I might have to get out of here.
Fred Nelson Sr. has lived in this neighborhood some 30 years. He thinks worries could be addressed with more communication.
They could have come through and waked up people. Some kind of siren or something should have went off, or some kind of noise or something besides you up and look and see a big fire.
From this Briarwood Estates neighborhood off Old Mobile Highway, you can clearly see the stacks from the Enterprise plant. One longtime resident told me the incident was more than a little unnerving. He's lived here for 30 years and says the fear of an industrial accident is something we all live with.
We want to know what's going on. We want to know, do we need to leave? Are we in danger? What's happening?
They can got a siren that can go off over here when we got a crane moving or it's time to go to lunch, but we can't be notified with some type alert or warning for this neighborhood? None.
Now, the Cherokee Concerned Citizen Group has worked with the emergency officials in the past to help develop an early warning system for those living near the industrial park. They have also worked on efforts to measure harmful emissions from nearby industry. Let's send it back live in Jackson County to Hugh Keaton. Hugh?
And we are told by plant officials that there is no at-risk danger for people who might be in this area, and there is no chemical leak right now. So that is a relief for people living in this area. We're continuing to follow this story. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll have an update on the plant schedule, what's ahead for workers who work here for the time being. Reporting live in Pascagoula, Hugh Keaton, WLOX News Now.
Now, WLOX First Alert Weather.
Shower and thunderstorm activity is really on the rise as we head into the latter afternoon hours. You see how everything is kind of building up. Seeing a very good storm right now in western George County. This is right near along Highway 57. It's really got a lot of lightning with it, so keep that in mind. If you're anywhere in the Lucedale area near Highway 98, you're seeing thunderstorms all the way up there towards Hattiesburg, going through the Beaumont area, all the way there to where 98 meets I-59. Seeing some pretty good storms along Highway 59 as well, from Hattiesburg down to Wiggins. A lot of heavy rainfall, very wet roadways for those who are making evening commutes throughout those areas. That's really where the heaviest rain is at the moment. As we stretch from Lamar County, Forest County, all the way down there into George County and Stone County. Also seeing some pretty good showers down toward the Sosha area. We're going to continue to see showers and storms develop even more and more as we head throughout this evening. So keep that in mind. Kind of a better evening to stay inside, maybe just have dinner indoors and enjoy a nice evening. So temperatures in the 80s. They're going to cool down to the 70s tonight. More showers and storms in the forecast, though. We'll let you know when drier weather arrives coming up.
Thanks, Andrew. As crews put the finishing touches on extinguishing the plant fire in Pascagoula, the investigation into what caused the explosion is just beginning. Up next, what they've discovered so far. And in tonight's Health Watch, a condition that affects millions of Americans but often goes undetected.
The news for South Mississippi continues. WLOX News Now at 6. Sponsored in high definition exclusively by Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Start with Gulf Coast, finish with confidence.
We're following a developing story. We first told you about this morning, an explosion at a plant in Pascagoula. Here's what we've learned about the facility. The Enterprise Products Partners LP purchased the plant from BP just earlier this year and took over operations on June 1st. It receives natural gas from third-party pipelines. The workers extract liquids from that natural gas.
Here in Pascagoula, the question remains tonight. What caused the chaos that sent flames shooting up hundreds of feet in the air behind me late last night? Janelle Ford is just around the corner from where I am, and she continues our team coverage. Janelle?
Well, the cause of that massive explosion still remains a mystery. If you take a look behind me, you can see that first responders are still here on the scene trying to put out the last of those flames. I'm told by an Enterprise representative that it could take days until they can get into the equipment and figure out the cause of this massive explosion.
We are in the process of letting the hydrocarbons bleed off now, and as soon as they do, we will be able to get in and start our investigation.
Fire crews remained at the Enterprise gas plant late into Tuesday afternoon, hours after the initial blast that occurred around 11:30 Monday night.
We had an explosion and a resulting fire, which resulted in the gas release. And our ESD systems, emergency shutdown systems, all responded exactly as they're supposed to.
Which was apparent when the two on-site workers, a woman and a man, escaped this massive blaze uninjured. They were protected by these buildings.
These are called BRMs, blast resistant modules, and that's where they operate out of.
Now, the challenge is determining what went wrong.
We have a process that we'll go through as soon as it's determined to be safe, which it has not yet, to enter that area.
As far as how long until the investigation can start, it could be days, and it will most likely involve multiple agencies.
We have not heard from OSHA. I've heard from the Chemical Safety Board. That's a federal agency that regulates chemical plants. They had some, and they will be doing an investigation.
For the time being, Enterprise will have to play the waiting game until they get the all clear.
We're just going to develop our plan as soon as we can feel that it's safe to get in, and then we'll evaluate, and then we'll begin the process of ensuring that it's safe to go in for our people and in the process of rebuilding.
Jackson County Emergency Service Director Earl Etheridge tells me that there is no indication of any environmental hazards at this time, and he says that's largely due to the fact that this is a natural gas plant. Now, we continue to update you here on WLOX News and on WLOX.com. Here in Jackson County, Janelle Fort, back to you.
Thank you, Janelle. We're continuing to follow this developing story at the Pascagoula plant. We'll head back out in just a few minutes, but let's check in on our forecast meteorologist, Andrew Wilson.
Well, Christina, we're still tracking a lot of showers and storms out there. We're going to have the latest on that coming up, but first, a look at your river stages forecast.
Now, WLOX First Alert Weather with meteorologist Andrew Wilson.
Well, we've tracked a lot of showers and storms across South Mississippi as we've moved throughout the afternoon, putting everything into still here. You're seeing the strongest storms there in George County, especially just west of the Lucedale area along Highway 57. Now, as we take a bit of a closer look there along Highway 49, just north of Wiggins, seeing a lot of that heavy rain make its way through. There's another look at George County where those thunderstorms are. Let's see how many lightning strikes we've had in that area over the past 15 minutes. I bet you it's been quite a bit there for western portions of George County. They've had about 237 lightning strikes, and guess what? It's probably still going to increase. So stay indoors if you are in that area. We want to make sure everybody stays safe whenever there's thunder outdoors. Pascagoula Navigator Credit Union 84, feels like 93 though. 81 degrees at Gulfport Red Pest Solutions, feels like 88. 74 at Ferguson MGCCC, and it feels like 79. The good news from all this rain is that it is cooler. It does feel a lot better out there than what it felt like a few days ago. IP Casino Resort Spa Tower came in Biloxi, showing a very stormy sky over D'Iberville. Also looking pretty stormy over the Mississippi Sound for the Margaritaville Resort Tower came in Biloxi, and you see the clouds just making their way down the coast there on the Hancock Bank Tower cam in Gulfport. As we continue throughout tonight, showers and storms will be an issue really all the way through about 1 a.m. Then we'll have a calmer look as we head into Wednesday morning. We move into Wednesday afternoon, more showers and storms, much like what we saw for today. We continue to see that all the way throughout the early evening hours on Wednesday. Thursday, our rain chances will start to slim up, though. Now, the Futurecast tries to show a lot of rain in there. I doubt we see as much as what it's trying to show, though. Tide forecast for this evening shows high tide will be as we head into the morning hours tomorrow. Low tide will be tomorrow evening, 87 degrees for the water temperature. Marine forecast shows a light chop on the Mississippi Sound and about the same as we look further offshore. Now, the 7-day forecast looks pretty wet to start off, but we start to dry up as we head into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is great news because that's the 4th of July weekend. Of course, Flint Creek Water Park in Wiggins is going to be having their 4th of July fireworks there on Saturday evening. That's going to be 82 degrees at about 9 p.m. Mostly clear sky. Could be a slight chance for a passing shower. Hopefully, it won't be in your area whenever those fireworks are going off. Now, as we make our way into Monday, a 20% chance for rain. This is the 4th of July itself. The 4th of July forecast, not looking too bad at all. 92 degrees will be the high in the afternoon under a partly cloudy sky. There is a slight chance for rain, but it's only a 20% chance. That's a lot better looking than what we're going to be dealing with over the next 2 days here. So nice to see the drier weather where we want to see it. Still slight chances for rain with those hot conditions returning for early next week.
Tonight at 6:30.
A summer camp for children with special needs. Details about a unique program that doesn't focus on children's disabilities, but rather their diverse abilities.
Tonight at 6:30 on WLOX News Now.
Efforts to clear the air of secondhand smoke around the state are growing and gaining recognition. Victor Williams joins us from Diamond Head, one of the newest smoke-free cities in Mississippi.
According to Smoke Free Mississippi, about 500 people die in Mississippi every year as a result of exposure to cigarette smoke. Now, several cities are trying to change that, the latest one being Diamond Head right here. Now, earlier today, the city was recognized in a Mississippi municipal meeting at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. And also a MSU research survey basically said that 74% of people believe that smoking should not be allowed in a lot of public places. This includes bars, this includes restaurants, and other places where a lot of public people will be coming through. Now, the city of Diamond Head actually adopted those rules, banning that from happening in a lot of public places. As a result, they have been awarded or been called a smoke-free community. Now, a lot of leaders are worried about this, saying that smoking should be, I guess, the smoker's right or whatever they want to do. Now, I'll have something later on tonight regarding those efforts to have more smoke-free cities. For now, we are live in Diamond Head. Victor Williams, WLOX News Now.
Health experts estimate hernias affect more than 5 million Americans, but many cases are often undetected. On tonight's Health Watch report, Karen Abernathy tells us about the dangers when it isn't diagnosed.
That's right, and June is Hernia Awareness Month, so it's a good time to remind people about the risks. Not recognizing the symptoms could lead to life-threatening complications, and getting treated is easier than in years past thanks to robotic surgery.
Hernias are common. In fact, General Surgeon Dr. Paul Mace at Garden Park Medical Center says hernia surgery is one of the most frequent surgeries he performs. What is a hernia?
A hernia is essentially just a hole that develops in the abdominal wall. Most commonly natural occurring hernias will occur around the belly button or down the groins.
Hernias may also form in an area where previous surgery has been performed. And Dr. Mace says regardless of the location, the symptoms are usually easy to spot.
Hernias will usually develop and present as a small bulge that you may notice under the skin. As they get larger, the bulge will get larger. You may begin to experience discomfort at the site.
He says hernias do not go away on their own, but that surgery is easier now with help from the Da Vinci robotic system.
With the robot, we can use smaller incisions. There's less discomfort after surgery and a much quicker recovery time.
He uses the robot assist in 90% of his hernia cases. And the earlier it's treated, the easier the surgery is. Dr. Mace says waiting too long for treatment can be life-threatening.
The danger of a hernia is that hole in the abdominal wall, if it gets large enough, can allow a piece of the intestine to get poked through the hole. If the intestine gets in the hole and gets trapped and incarcerated, it can get twisted or kinked, it can lose its blood supply, and then the intestine can rupture. And then you've got a major problem.
That's why he says treating symptoms early with outpatient surgery is key.
And Dr. May says recovery time for resuming day-to-day activity is usually 4 to 7 days.
Thank you, Karen. Fighting flames crews working to put out a fire after an overnight explosion. We'll have the latest developments from Pascagoula next.
Tonight at 10.
His behavior and his reaction are unacceptable.
A Mississippi lawmaker under fire after sending an email to a mother with a sick child who was looking for answers. A controversial response tonight.
On WLOX News Now.
We're going to go ahead and head back to Pascagoula, where we're learning more tonight about an overnight plant explosion. Hugh, what's happening?
Yeah, we do have a breaking development right now, Christina. Just in the last few minutes, the water spray that had been used to extinguish that flame in the plant behind me from the explosion last night, they have stopped that water spray, and I'm told in a one-word answer that yes, the flame has been extinguished. A worker back here just told me that. So that is the story right now. And so now we do know that we were told that before an investigation could begin, the flame had to be extinguished. So we're expecting that next step to begin in the investigation exactly into what caused this explosion to the investigation to start shortly. Reporting live in Pascagoula, Hugh Keaton, WLOX News Now.
Thank you, Hugh. And Andrew, it is still just hot today.
Yeah, it's still feeling pretty hot out there, but the showers and storms are helping cool things off. That's going to continue throughout this evening. A lot of chances for storms for tonight, really all throughout the evening. You can see we're keeping up to a 50% chance there even as we head to around midnight. So keep that in mind. Definitely a nice evening to just stay indoors. A lot of good sleeping weather. Now we have thunderstorms in the forecast for Wednesday as well and Thursday, but notice how the chances start to slim up as we head into the holiday weekend. Going to be better weather there for Saturday and Sunday, but you're going to want to drink plenty of water because it's going to be hot, especially as we head into the early part of next week.
And that's all for the news at 6. Be sure to follow us over to WLOX News CBS. It starts at 6:30.